Welcome to the Natural History Cupboard. Come on in.
And welcome back to the best natural history podcast on the internet, the Natural History Cupboard podcast. I'm your host, Aaron, and I'm not with any co-hosts this week. As you are well aware, it's been a bit of an odd few weeks for the podcast. We've been on a bit of a hiatus, just whilst some annual leave was squished in there. I'm now back from my travels around Europe, and I'm quite happy to be in the studio again. However, Gareth is now on holiday himself, only for 1 week though. So next week it will be back to normal. This week is going to be pretty close to normal, more or less. I am calling a bit of an audible though, because whilst I've been on my travels, I've had no internet connection apart from when I've gone into Wi-Fi range. There's a lot of wild camping and adventuring, so that wasn't too often. But what I found was there's a fair few emails from you guys that haven't been addressed yet. And some of them are pretty big, which has meant that I'm going to resort to using my mobile phone to read them, I'm afraid. But I just wanted to kind of do a little bit of a different episode this week. I'm going to forego the news. Sorry, Gareth, Drew. But I'm going to forego the news. Call a bit of an audible, and I'm just going to go after the intro straight into Gareth's wonderful creature feature, and then we're going to go into the emails so I can tackle some of your emails for you guys, so you're not waiting all too long, because 3 weeks of one of us being off and then a fourth week where another one's off, it's quite a long time for you guys to wait to have your emails answered. So I do appreciate that, and we'll get cracking, and me and Gareth will catch up on what we've been up to in the coming week when he's back as well. But with that said, yeah, I hope you're all well. I hope you've had an entertaining summer full of wildlife experiences where possible, and yeah. We'll go straight into Gareth's creature feature. Thank you, Gareth, for putting in the effort of doing that, by the way, before you went on holiday. That's really awesome. So yeah, let's get cracking.
It's the creature feature.
Whitby, in the 19th century. Tourists buy odd-looking spiral-shaped rocks. Now, they have snake heads carved on them as well. And these curios are bought because of a local legend. Now, that legend is connected to, supposedly in the 7th century, the Saxon abbess St. Hilda turning all of the snakes within the grounds of her abbey to stone and casting them out. Now, this legend goes on and is somewhat similar to other snake-based saint legends, such as St. Patrick driving all the snakes from Ireland. But snake hatred aside, we are actually looking at a fantastic group of animals here. Not snakes, but we are looking at the fossils that were being turned into snakes. We're looking at the Ammonites that are present right the way throughout the world. One of the most successful animal groups to have ever existed on the planet. Ammonites are a group of now extinct marine mollusks. That's the same group of squid and octopus. But they belong to their own subclass called Ammonoidae. Now, they were among the most fascinating creatures to have inhabited the Earth's oceans, and they first appeared about 400 million years ago in the Devonian period. The Ammonites themselves thrived right until the extinction event that claimed the non-avian dinosaurs 66 million years ago in the Cretaceous period. Now, their spiral shells and remarkable diversity and widespread fossil record have made them an invaluable tool to paleontologists for studying the Earth's prehistoric past. Ammonites evolved from earlier shelled cephalopods known as the batrachids. Now, unlike modern-day squid and octopuses, Ammonites retain an external shell, much like their distant cousins, the nautiloids, who are still alive today. Over millions of years, Ammonites adapted to the different ecological niches in the world's oceans and evolved into a variety of astonishing forms and shapes. Their shells basically showing the vast variety of species that existed. Their evolutionary success is reflected in their global distribution and the sheer number of species that we've discovered to date. Now, during the Mesozoic period, that's the age of reptiles, the time when the dinosaurs were pretty much dominant, the Ammonites reached their peak and they became abundant and widespread. So much so that paleontologists today actually use them as an excellent what's called index fossil or indicator fossil, helping them to date specific marine layers with precision. Now, their rapid evolutionary turnover actually means different species existed for relatively short geological periods of time, making them ideal for constructing detailed layers on a timeline of Earth's history. One of the most distinct features of the Ammonites are their coiled chambered shells. Now, inside of these chambers, they're separated by intricately folded walls, and these are called septa, forming complex suture patterns along the outside and the inside that are visible when they are fossilized. Now, these patterns are actually often used to help classify Ammonite species, but the shells themselves varied greatly in form. Some Ammonites had tightly coiled shells, others had developed loosely coiled or even straight shells as well. There's even an Ammonite that looks like a paperclip. A striking example is the heteromorph Ammonites, whose loosely coiled shells sometimes spiraled irregularly or completely uncoiled in bizarre shapes, suggesting an adaptation to a different mode of life than others. This ornamentation also ranged as well over Ammonite shells from smooth to simple or heavily ribbed or spiny. This possibly helped serve as camouflage or protection against predators, helping to blend them into their underwater environment or to serve as a bit of a warning to any potential thing that might want to try and eat them. Now, this incredible variation in shell type is thought to reflect the lifestyle differences. Streamlined, tightly coiled shells helping with hydrodynamic streamlined swimming, suggesting that they were active swimmers and active hunters possibly, while more irregular shells were probably drifting with the ocean currents or feeding on plankton near the surface or hiding in amongst coral reefs. Now, Ammonites were marine predators. Much like their modern-day counterparts, the squid, they likely fed on small fish, plankton, crustaceans, or any other invertebrates or small things that might have passed their path, using their tentacles to be able to snag and grab in prey. Now, fossil evidence suggests that they had well-developed eyes and strong jaws equipped with a beak-like structure, just like their modern-day relatives, enabling to thrive as hunters on small prey. They inhabited a variety of different ocean environments, from shallow coastal waters to much deeper offshore zones, and their chambered shells allowed them to regulate their buoyancy, rising and falling with the water column, much like today's nautiloids. This ability made them versatile in adapting to different ecological roles within the marine ecosystem. In addition to being predators as well, Ammonites themselves were actually prey for a vast variety of larger marine predators. Everything from marine reptiles like mosasaurs, ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs would have quite happily munched down on them. We even have some fantastic fossils that show that they were preyed on by other animals as well. The spines and ridges on some species shells may have served as some defense against these formidable hunters, although probably not very much. Now, when we look at Ammonites, most people are probably familiar with ones that they might have found at Lyme Regis or at Whitby or other famous beaches for finding Ammonites, and they're usually not much bigger than that. But those are small or juvenile specimens. Ammonites got absolutely huge, but there were some species that also stayed incredibly small. The largest and smallest Ammonites ranged greatly in size. Some species were no bigger than a fingernail, measuring a few centimeters in diameter, while others grew to enormous proportions, the size of tractor tires. The largest known specimen to date is Paraporosia separoidensis, and that reached a diameter of more than 2 meters, an absolutely monstrous sized ammonite. Now, these size differences highlighted their incredible diversity yet again as a group, and their ability to exploit many different ecological niches, also the speed at which some of these animals grew as well. At the other extreme, dwarf specimens of ammonites were adapted to survival in specific environments, possibly restricted to shallow coastal lagoons or nutrient-poor seas. The miniature forms helped them to blend in and also fit into specific, smaller ecological niches. And the distribution of these animals as well is absolutely gigantic. They were found the world over. Their distribution was widespread, and across ancient seas and into today, their fossils are found on every single continent. Some of these are the best known locations that I've included to this list, and some of them are my personal favourite. Now, in England, the Jurassic Coast is your #1 best place to go and find them. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is renowned for abundant and beautifully preserved ammonite fossils, often found eroding out of the cliffs and the beaches. There is also the fossil walkway that is there as well, which is a death assemblage of thousands of ammonites, forming what is known as the Ammonite pavement, which can be found at Lyme Regis. In Germany, we have the Solnhofen limestone, one of the most famous fossil sites in the world for exceptional fossil preservation, including ammonites with fine shell details among some of the most iconic species of prehistoric life there as well, such as Archaeopteryx from this exact same formation. In Madagascar, it's known for colourful, mineralised ammonites that are highly prized by collectors and can display vivid iridescence even on their fossilised shells millions of years since they were alive. In Morocco, they are home to vast fossil beds yielding spectacular ammonites of many varieties, and once they've been prepared by the expert fossil proprietors that are found in those markets, they are sold to international buyers all over the world. In the United States, you've got Montana, South Dakota and Texas, rich fossil sites from the Cretaceous period, which revealed a vast range of ammonite species, some with beautifully preserved mother-of-pearl shells. This shows what was the massive sea that split America down the center, that would have been vastly filled with ammonites, as well as things like mosasaurs preying on them. Collectors and paleontologists alike seek ammonites for not only for scientific value, but also for their aesthetic appeal. And in some parts of the world, polished ammonites are used in jewelry or decorative pieces, further connecting these ancient creatures to modern-day human culture. Now, the ammonites, unfortunately, are no longer with us. I would absolutely love to go swimming and come face to face with one of these wonderfully beautiful shelled mollusks. But unfortunately, after persisting for hundreds of millions of years, surviving multiple mass extinctions, including the Permian era extinction, the extinction at the end of the Devonian period, the extinction at the end of the Carboniferous period, it was that one final one at the end of the Cretaceous that seemed to have pushed them off the edge. The cause of their extinction is tied to the catastrophic events that happened at the end of the Mesozoic era, including that asteroid impact that claimed the non-avian dinosaurs, the massive climatic changes that happened because of it, and the massive volcanic activity, as well as the acidification of the oceans, making it almost impossible for shelled animals to be able to reproduce properly. Now, unlike their cousins, the nautiloids, the ammonites did not survive this dramatic ecological shift at this period. Sometimes scientists suggest that the ammonites' larvae may have floated near the ocean's surface, were particularly vulnerable to acidification following the Chicxulub impact. And this collapse in the plankton population, their primary food source, was likely the final death knell for these particular species. But it was their cousins, the nautiluses, that still survive today. And they are found deep down in very, very small parts of the world's oceans. For a group of animals that were also as widespread as the Ammonites, the nautiloids have reduced massively in their numbers and are only surviving in very, very deep down specific conditions. And it's probably this deep down, deep sea living that aided them in surviving that mass extinction. The legacy of Ammonites, though, today are more than just fossils. They're symbols of deep time and their ever-changing history of the life on Earth. Their widespread distribution, as well as their rapid evolutionary change, has allowed scientists to use them today as indicator fossils. These shells have inspired a variety of different architectural themes, and if you go to Lyme Regis, you'll see that all of their lampposts are in the shape of Ammonites, which is a fantastic touch for such a specific fossil site. Now, nowadays, we no longer see Ammonites as petrified snakes coiled up that just have to have a head carved on them. We see them for the amazing creatures that they were. But this connection still exists, and some of those original snake stones are actually found in museums, showing the cultural and folkloric traditions that these creatures have actually allowed in the human psyche, showing just how amazing Ammonites truly are. Now, I love going looking for Ammonites, and they're one of those fossils that I think everybody at some point when they've gone fossil hunting has found either a bit or a whole one, or if you've been incredibly lucky, you've found a massive specimen or some sort of amazing piece of prehistoric life. They are the easiest to identify out of all of the fossils you might find. And if you do go fossil hunting, because it's now starting to get into the right time of year for that, then good luck. And hopefully you come away with a real piece of Earth's history to be able to display at home. Just remember that if you are going fossil hunting, you do need to follow all the usual safety guidelines. Don't ever go digging into the side of a cliff. The easiest way to do things is to just pick things up off the foreshore or go with a guided tour or somebody who knows what they're doing, because these are not just sites of natural beauty. They are sites of special scientific interest, but they're also incredibly deadly places as well. If you were to pull the wrong rock out and a whole rock slide comes down, you don't want to be below that. You want to go out and you want to find those animals as best you can and come away and have a wonderfully fun day. So there it is. There's our Ammonites, a group of animals that existed in a variety of mad shapes and sizes all across the world and were so influential to culture and to history that we should really think of them as more than just fossils. They should be seen as a real cultural species.
Bing! You've got mail. Ooh, it's an email.
Thank you, Gareth. Once again, yeah, lovely creature feature there, mate. So we are now into the kind of email section, or the sack of interaction, as me and Drew came to call it. I did say we're going to be using my mobile phone here because some of the emails are quite long, and the way that the studio is currently set up, I can't read the longer ones on the big screen. But that's not a problem. We'll make do. So, to kick things off, because it came in kind of at the tail end before I went off on holiday. Big Pumba, your Spec Evo piece. We'll go back through that one real quick. We did run through the first species, which was the crevice martin. We're now going to run through the next one. So this species profile is for an animal that he has named the sickle pike. I've got like a ring color in my vision because of the light in the studio. So yeah, it's it's the stickle pike. After the trumpeting, what little water remained was fairly devoid of life. All amphibians were wiped out, leaving a huge opportunity for one plucky but small fish, the stickleback, as the hairless apes called them. Over millions of years, the stickleback evolved into an enormous subspecies, the largest numerous subspecies, the largest being the sticklepike, aptly named due to the similar lifestyle of a former predatory fish species from the fossil record. Apparently, I've lost the ability to read. A large ambush predator about a meter long. It lies in wait for anything it can fit into its mouth, be it on land or water. We watch this species with great interest as it has been seen to beach itself in order to catch territorial mammalian prey. That's a creepy species to think about. And this appears to be his last species from this speculative evolution piece, and its name is the town square adder. I like the sound of this one already. The town square adder is the only venomous reptile to call the fallout zone home. Still, seemingly rare, as it is only found in the location, to our knowledge, um, what was once known as the Charter Shopping Centre. From what we gather, a place of art and fine dining. I think he might be being a bit facetious there. These reptiles bask in the sun in the former car park area, though with no threat from the humans. The species congregates here and to do the basking. Moving off into the former buildings, the town square adder will hunt small mammals amongst the ruins. In our planetary scans, we have found one creature that remains virtually unchanged. It was sheltered from fallout up in the highlands of the far north, where it was kept away from most of the damage. A small red rodent is arboreal. It feeds on nuts and seeds. It seems to have not changed at all, apart from its immune system is vastly stronger. Reports from the fossil record show a larger tree rodent, not as appealing, quite frankly, out of place on the isle. We have dubbed the creature Red Perfection. What a lovely kind of sign off there for the red squirrel in your story. Okay, so we're going to move on now into the emails that we haven't been through, and the first one comes to us again from Big Pumba, which is nice. It says, "Hey guys, Big Pumba here. In answer to what species colours got my attention, I have four offerings. As someone who is colourblind, you may find one choice very odd." Okay, we're interested in this. I used to keep freshwater tropical fish for many years, and in that time I kept African cichlids. Cool, a couple of times. Many Tanganyika cichlids. However, I did also keep Mallory cichlids as well. That's cool. And for fish, it has to be the small but feisty Demasoni cichlid. The blues on that fish, when the light hits, right, just pop. I do miss fish keeping, and maybe one day we'll venture back into it. It's funny, we've been talking a bit about fish lately because I miss having a fish tank with some neon tetras in it. Big Pumba continues, bird, it has to be the goldfinch. As a UK species enthusiast, the goldfinch is just so out of the norm for UK species. When you look at a UK bird species posters, a lot of the colours to me are quite samey same. He's colourblind. But the goldfinch, the reds, the yellows on the wing, they when they fly over you, it's just perfect. The song as well, with the middle bit, just sounds like some drum and bass. Just a perfect little bird. It's a nice thought. For mammals, I have two, and though it's not a big cat or one of the big five, I'm going with the unsung ungulates, both from Africa, but I offer up the mystical okapi. That's a really good one, actually. They are very striking. Its colouring is just so out there compared to other ungulates. They just have this sense of mystery about them, and colours just help it melt into the forest and makes you think what else could be in the jungles that we don't know about. They originally were a cryptozoological animal. No one believed that they actually existed until obviously yeah, thinking of how to politically word this. Basically, they didn't believe the natives that this animal existed, So until Great White Hunter went in there, it wasn't believed to exist. And finally, my wild card is the wildebeest, blue, black, and king. Wildebeest have always been my favourite ungulate, a group I have a soft spot for. In documentaries, they are always played up as cannon fodder, and that's just not good enough for beloved wildebeest. The stripes on the blue wildebeest are just chef's kiss. The light tail on the black wildebeest really makes the rest of it pop. The king wildebeest is a mutation of the blue, and it's just stunning. If I can, I'll attach a picture below, which will be up now. And let's not forget about how adorable wildebeest calves are. They're not just cannon fodder; they are they are a marvel in my eyes. Constantly on the move. The ones at Knowsley Safari are full of character, and yeah, there's enough there for a creature feature. Big love to the beast. Honourable mention to Gemsbok. Have a great week, everyone. Stay wild. Big Pumba. And yeah. Feel like when you go around Knowsley, uh, from the public perspective, if because of the way the safari bit's laid out, I feel like a lot of people didn't give the ungulates their credit. It's kind of brown ungulate after brown ungulate after brown ungulate, and the danger I found talking to some of the public when I worked there was that they didn't know where the deer ended and the antelope started. And that is a problem with zoo interpretation. As an industry, the zoos need to get better at interpretation about signage, or in safaris, it's even more difficult. You can't really expect to have signage because you're going to get these massive traffic queues. So you got to think a little bit out of the box with apps or CDs. Longbeat used to have a good CD. But yeah, I used to love the ungulates at Knowsley. I didn't work much with them though, unfortunately. But fortunately, that was because I was with the tigers and the Iberian wolves. So yeah. Anyway, lovely email. Thank you for that, Big Pumba. Next couple come to us from Jen Greenhall, who's one of our beloved Patreon supporters. So this is actually it looks like a news article. She says, "Hello, lovelies. This one is even further north than Manchester." And the headline is "Critically Endangered Species Finds Home at Cumbrian Zoo." So we'll look into that maybe for the news coming up. She continues, "By the way, I too think the Beatles were overrated and Oasis and controversial. Elvis does nothing for me. Elvis sucks as well, yeah." Yeah, there we go. She has a second email here. This one is specifically for Drew, so I hope Drew is listening in on this. But she's quite right. Jen says, "Oh my God, this is referring to Drew's rap, if you remember his rewording of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which was phenomenal." Jen says, "Oh my God, that was the best bit of any podcast ever," and I happen to agree that Drew's rap was the best part of any podcast I've ever listened to. For me personally, yeah, that will go down. I'm so glad that it was Gareth on leave and not me, because it could have quite easily been Gareth and Drew covering for when I was gallivanting around Europe. There, I'm so glad that it happened when Gareth was on paternity leave, because I would have missed that greatness. It was it was very good. It made my day. Yeah. So moving on. Spencer Matthew Seams emails us, "Hi guys, again. I have some articles and a video for you this time. Keep up the great work." And he sent some links to some articles there, which we'll have a look into. Spencer, thank you for that. We'll see if we cover them in the coming weeks. You guys are already giving us some news fodder, which is good, making my mine and Gareth's first week back to normality next week a little bit easier for us. Um, Another one from Shane, from Big Pumba, that is. He says, "Hey guys, Big Pumba here. Just wanted to throw it out there for the fellow dog owners out there. Obviously, in the UK, as we are all aware, there's been there's been a bit of a heat wave. So being responsible, we've walked our lad later on around 9:30 p.m. We go to the same large field, and usually it's to ourselves. He's very fearful and a bit reactive to strangers and dogs. We are working with him and a proper gun dog trainer. He's a Labrador. We don't intend on going on shoots, but the training is helping his breed specific needs, and he is growing in confidence every day. Well, that's good to hear. I digress, however. Like I say, we go to the same field fairly often, but at night. Totally different place. As well as keeping a close eye on him, I've seen I've seen no rules. I think that might be a typo, but he's seen pipistrelles and he's heard at least four different tawny owls, and by far the coolest, eight hedgehogs. That's really cool. Before then, I'd only seen one. We found six youngsters, one slightly larger, assuming it's a female, and then an absolute unit of a hog, which I thought was a large tuft of the mown grass. It was quite unusual to see them out in the open, so on revisiting, I've scattered some hedgehog-specific food. I'll let the local hedgehog people know, but that's it. I want this spot to be safe and protected as can be. And always remember, doggy folks, keep your dogs under control and on a lead around wildlife. For wildlife's sake, your pooches and of your love elsewhere. With I think that might be sorry, big pun, but I think there might be another typo there. Um, uh, but the sentiment is understood. It's one of those things that every summer in the UK, I don't know about other countries, but every summer in the UK, you get dog owners who are very keen to let their dogs off leads, and we end up with injured wildlife, injured livestock, and injured dogs, and sometimes dogs that need to be euthanized as a result. So, yes, although summer is now over, and we're now into our I say summer, the slightly warmer season in the UK. We're now kind of quickly moving into monsoon season here, the cold monsoon season, because of course we get a cold monsoon and then a hot monsoon. So we're moving into cold monsoon season now, so it won't be as much of a problem, but still worth keeping your eyes on and being aware of. So then we go back to Jen again, who's sent us a nice little email in, and she says, hello, lovelies. Bit odd, this one. I set off to work this morning, only doing one day on site per week as it's the summer, and one episode of the podcast usually lasts one journey if the traffic gods are kind. However, the whale issue on Spotify and Apple is only 30 minutes and only covers the creature feature, which was very good as usual. But no pre-creature feature chat, and you finished as the sack of interactions. Is this a ploy to get us all on the YouTube version? Screenshot as proof. That's interesting. Oh, one of us Drew has been kind enough to email. Sorry, this response is late. Things have got a bit quiet at our end with Aaron away, and the rest of us busy. But I've no. Yeah, I remember this now. Yeah, I do remember this. Drew did contact while I was away, but I couldn't do anything about it because I got all your emails, any messages from the guys. They all came when I had Wi-Fi, and I couldn't reply back because I was very, very rarely within Wi-Fi range. He did say something about that. I will double check with the guys if it's been sorted. But thank you for bringing that to our attention. It is not a ploy to get you onto YouTube, but hopefully you guys will be enjoying us on YouTube too. It's probably the best place to find us if you're new to this podcast, because you get to see any extra bits and pieces that we put in. But yeah, any problems like that, get back to us. Today's a bit different. There's not a news segment that's intended. I think I said that in the intro, calling a little bit of an audible because it's in between me coming back and Gareth going on his holiday. Next week, back to normal. Plus, there was loads of emails, so I figured that I'd just get through your guys' emails for you, so you weren't waiting too long. Thank you for writing that in. So Spencer Seams has gotten in touch again. He says, not sure if this is appropriate for the show or not, but it is worth a look at least. I have mixed feelings since the person died, but I loathe big game hunting intensely, so this was always a possibility if one does this. Anyways, keep up the good work. I see that Drew has gotten back to you on this, but I am going to open it up and see if we can go into a bit more detail on it. Just bear with me a second whilst my slow internet catches up with us. Okay. So this news article is from CNN. It says U.S. man killed by buffalo he was tracking during South Africa hunting trip. Yeah, this kind of stuff happens rarely. I don't. That's one of my cats coming in. I don't celebrate someone losing their life any more than I would celebrate an animal losing its life. I think any loss of life is unnecessary and a great shame. However, there is a saying in Australia that because of our audience, I cannot repeat, but I'm sure you adults know what I'm talking about. It's essentially if you do silly things will happen. And I don't mean that in a cold, callous kind of way. It's just kind of more of a realist sort of thing. But it sounds like this Texan, Asher Watkins, was killed while on a hunting safari. I mean, okay, so I'm going to avoid speaking ill of the dead, but can we all just have a think about this? Hunting safari. It doesn't seem. It seems like a contradiction of terms. Safari, you go on safari to see these wonderful animals in as wild a environment as possible. Hunting is going out to kill things. So yeah, it's hard to kind of balance the two as a term. And I've always thought like you go out there, you look down the sight of your rifle, you shoot, that animal's gone. If you're a good shot, it's gone. It no longer contributes to the population. It no longer contributes to the environment. No one else. It's not there anymore for anyone else to enjoy. I just feel like surely there's the same thrill from going out there with a good camera. Spend your money on the camera. Go out on safari. You're looking down the sight of your camera. You snap, and you've got your trophy. Your photograph is the trophy, and that animal is there for someone else to enjoy in future. And more importantly, it's there to contribute to the functioning ecosystem around it. I don't like that kind of thing. But yeah, I will read that article, and maybe that will make its way into the news too. So we'll move on to the next email. Thank you for writing into us, Spencer. Oh, hello. So just a warning. This is the penultimate email. Only one more left after this, but this is exciting. I mean, I'm excited to get any emails from you guys. I always love the email bit because you get some interesting stuff like Big Pumba's Spec Evo stuff. You get some nice articles. You get some nice interaction from patrons like Jen. But we also get some funny stuff. Anyway, this chap, we've not heard from this chap in a little while. It's really nice to hear from you, Dan Luizietti. Now I know that again. I believe Drew has responded to you. I might read Drew's response out so that because usually there's two of us responding to you guys today. There's only me, but I will read you out and see what you have for us. So he says, "Hi boys, seems like forever since I've emailed you. Life has been busy, 2024 and 2025, but I have happy news. After 3 years of trying, we finally have our little girl. She was born in March, and we called her Maya. Mia or Maya? I'm not sure, but either way, congratulations, dude. That's awesome. We didn't know if starting a family was right for us, but we've never looked back. She's been our adventure buddy, and I've been so proud to take her out bird watching and wild swimming. Cool, start her early. My little girl, she loves wild swimming, and that was one of the highlights of our journey. But we'll probably talk about that when Gareth's back in when we catch up with each other anyway. But yeah, very cool. Hello, Mrs. Luizietti is worried she'll be a leech bait. We're looking forward to our first Christmas as a family of three, and we'll be using some of the natural Christmas decoration ideas that Drew gave us years back. Good stuff. Well, good. good memory, Dan. My question is, do you have any more baby-friendly activity ideas? I've been loving catching up with episodes I've missed, and the Drew ones are so funny. The rap was the show's best moment. Yeah, I think I've already said that. It's it definitely was the best moment of any podcast. I think I really enjoyed it. Selfishly, I really enjoyed it. Anyway, so pleased for Gareth to have another little one, although we're stopping at one. Loving Aaron's creature features and the shorter news and more streamlined structure. Thank you for that feedback there regarding the shorter news and the more streamlined structure, because we're constantly discussing like how to improve the show, and feedback for that reason is very important. But we don't often get feedback about how the show is actually structured and what you guys think of the different segments. So, Dan, honestly, not just saying this, thank you. That's really helpful, and I'm glad that you're enjoying it that way. I thought it was a good move to go from rather than so some of you like Dan who've been around since around about the beginning, you'll know that each of us would have several news articles that we go into full detail on. And it was not just a lot of editing from us, but no one ever mentioned that they liked the news. They mentioned kind of stuff like Word of the Week and Pop Culture Corner segments that we used to do. The emails were very obviously something that people liked, and the creature features were what I suppose, or what we hoped people were coming for. Um, so in my mind, it always needs streamline. And yeah, the having just the headlines and then one news article to go into is a big improvement. I'm sure that somewhere in the multiverse there is a way of streamlining that further without necessarily losing it or losing anything from the podcast. But that's a discussion and a thought process for another time. Um, Keep up the good work, and maybe I'll see you one day. We're now in Kerno. You're in Kerno. For those of you that don't know, that's Cornish for Cornwall. So that's really cool. Although I have to admit, I can't remember where you were before. You did say, but I hope you're enjoying Cornwall. Cornwall is a lovely place. It's beautiful. I love Devon and Cornwall. I will admit that whilst I think the surf is better in Devon, don't tell that to my Cornish friends. I actually think Cornwall is prettier than Devon. Don't tell that to my Devonian friends, because I'll lose everybody then. um, okay. I'll read out Drew's film. Actually, before I do, ideas for child-friendly, baby-friendly activities. You've probably already thought about this, really, but I'm when our little one, well, pretty much as soon as our little one could go out, we would we were taking her out for walks, come rain or shine, getting her used to all weathers. Um, I would get excited about birds and insects that were around her. We don't have too many other kind of taxa around here, really, apart from the odd deer, which obviously that gets me excited anyway. But I would make a fuss when we'd hear the deer roaring out the back. I'd make a fuss about that. Had at the window and even out sometimes in thunder and lightning, safely, obviously, just to get her used to the sounds and get her interested. One thing I did like to do with her, which has carried on to today, is take her out on a clear night and stargaze. For some reason, she's picked up a fear of not a fear, but she gets a bit nervous when I talk about comets, the auroras, and meteors. But she's getting better. I don't know where that came from, and but it is getting better. So yeah, things like that, just kind of passive observation of the natural world, I suppose, is uh also documentaries. I did it a little bit with our little girl, but I remember my mum and dad. Um, I remember one in particular that we had on VHS. For those of you who don't know what VHS is, is kind of the precursor to DVD, where it's like a big block, big black plastic block with a tape in it and two wheels, and you'd put it in the machine that very rarely worked, and you had to thump the machine and then it would work. Yeah, from the era of like Super Nintendo. So, and if you don't know what that is, then I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, yeah, passive observation of the natural world, documentaries. I was going to say what documentary it was that Mum and Dad used to have me watching. It's called The Waterhole. Really good though, really good. So yeah, so Drew answered you. I am going to read out Drew's answer because then at least we have a second opinion here. He says, "Hey Dan, it's so lovely to hear from you," which it is, by the way. "We're so pleased to hear your news. Congratulations. Mia or Leechbait has a promising future with the two of you alongside her. It sounds like you've probably already heard, but my wife and I are new homeowners, so we're looking forward to our first Christmas in a place of our own. Good luck with your decorations. It's so much more special to build something yourself instead of random plastic from the shop shelves. I will pass on your question to the other two as they're better positioned to answer. It may take them a bit to answer as they're having a bit of a hiatus over August. But for the meanwhile, my wife, who's better at this stuff than I am, had some suggestions for you that all stem from just being outside and having access to grass and trees. It's more than a lot of parents do. Here's her suggestions. Note that some of them are more aimed at toddlers than babies. That was the thing that I was struggling with because I can remember what we did for our daughter as a toddler, but as a baby, uh, their vision isn't quite there, and certainly their attention isn't all like quite there. Anyway, so Jess's suggestions are a nature-themed sensory bag with like flowers or animal toys in water in a Ziploc bag. Tummy time on grass, which is a good idea, and we did that. Um, save the dinosaur toy from the ice block. Yeah, it's another kind of sensory thing. Digging fossils out of soil or sandpit, making daisy chains, sensory things like lavender or rosemary that she can have rubbed on her hands. Bird songs and water noises as ambient noise for nap time. Visits to the aquarium or fish shops. We did do visits to aquariums and zoos. Our first zoo visit was Paint Zoo. The first aquarium was Plymouth. Both really good. Very happy memories from that one. Painting leaves or pine cones, bird feeders from pine cones, as much time barefoot as possible on different textures. So then Drew continues, always appreciate the feedback, especially from someone who's been with us so long, and thank you for still journeying with us. Congrats on your move to Kerno. As the crow flies, you're not too far from us, but the roads down here are awful. All the best to the three of you from Drew. So yeah, I think they covered pretty much what I would have covered, but I would also like to add in just an extra congratulatory, not just from me and from Drew there, but from the entire podcast team and our families that help support us. So yeah, congratulations, Dan and Mrs. Louisietti, and welcome to the world, Mia. Good stuff. And our last email for this episode comes to us from Jen Greenhall, who says, "Hello, lovelies. Hope you're all well and you're enjoying your break from us. Looking forward to your return. I wonder if Gareth would be interested in helping one of our animal lecturers with their research. It was shared on LinkedIn, so it's a screenshot. Now, I won't share the screenshot, but I will share it with Gareth himself, and I will have a cheeky look too. But yeah, just to be a bit of a pedant and pull you up on something, our break wasn't from you guys. Me and Gareth both thoroughly enjoyed doing this podcast. It is a heck of a lot of work. So we try and keep the podcast. I don't know if I've definitely spoken vaguely about this, but we try and keep the podcast at about an hour to an hour and a quarter long. For you guys to get that hour and a quarter of content, it's probably about 2 hours if we're lucky of recording. And then I can't tell you from Gareth's side of things, but it certainly takes me to do to get it just right, where I'm happy for it as a product to go out to you guys. It probably takes me around 4 hours to edit, and then it's probably a further 2 hours of writing up stuff and looking at news that I think be interesting to you guys, which is not always a success. Sometimes there's been the odd episode where I'm guilty of like kind of going, oh no, there's nothing that's super interesting or funny. Uh, quick, find some news about a dinosaur that's just been dug up. Because those articles tend to be a little bit samey, I'm afraid, but that's why they stay in the headline section and don't go into the main article too much. But yes, it's not a break from you guys. It's a break from life itself because I'll tell you what I found. I won't go into too much detail because I'm sure me and Gareth are kind of talk about our experiences together when he's in the studio next. But we both work really hard. And neither of us are like, I'm not going to complain, and I'm also not going to divulge our pay. But neither of us are paid a lot for our full-time jobs. We work, and this is the same for a lot of people in the UK and across the world, I suppose. We're paid very little. We work a lot and very hard. And one thing that I found, 3 weeks in a van traveling with my daughter and my partner, is sharing the successes and the struggles and the experiences and the fun and the laughter and the odd bit of pain, um, uh, and the sights. There's so much that we miss in this life that we're not supposed to miss. We're not supposed to be our lifestyle is not supposed to be the way it currently is. I won't go on some long political rant, and I like being a functioning member of our society, if you can still call it society. Recent events probably leave that conversation for another time, but it's not really much of a society anymore, is it? But my point is that we don't get enough time with the people we want to spend our time with. Um, Barely get any time with my partner and our daughter, which means I get even less time with my friends and other family like my mum and my brother and my cousins. So yeah, it's just nice to. It's not a break from you guys. It's a break from everything else in life, so that I can spend some good quality time. And I tell you what, the best thing, the worst thing about my phone provider was actually the best thing about my holiday. My phone provider, by the way, it's Three. I'll name and shame you guys. You're awful, Three. If anybody listens to this podcast, this is not a phone or technology podcast, but if anybody's with Three, get off them as soon as you can. They are awful for data roaming and all that. It forced me to not use the internet at all, apart from, like I said, when I'm within Wi-Fi, which I use to just keep in contact with family, Westers out there. But it was also the best part of the holiday. Not being on having connection to the internet meant no social media, no bad news, and 100% attention on my partner and our daughter. So that was awesome. But yeah, I went on a hell of a tangent there. The point of what I was saying, it's not a break from you guys. It's a break from the world to get back in touch with the things in this world that are actually truly important. And that wraps up our emails. Now, it's also a really good bridge because Jen, the last person that emailed in, is one of our lovely Patreon supporters. So we're now going to jump to pre-recorded Gareth and Aaron to hear about our wonderful Patreon supporters.
Every week, we like to give a little love back by shouting out the names of our wonderful Patreon supporters.
That's right. These are the cupboard dwellers who are kind enough to support us through a monetary contribution, for which we are eternally grateful and grateful beyond words.
And those people are, of course, Fogtober, Jen Greenhall, Connie P, Chelsea McKee, Nick to Nick,
Owen Cox.
and Matt Geddy.
Guys, your financial contributions are actively helping us out here in the Natural History Cupboard in a myriad of ways, including developing our new studio, planning excursions and being able to go out and film on location, considering technical upgrades, and actually making the jump from a solely audio-based podcast to the now growing YouTube channel. And we really can't thank you enough for that.
Now, we appreciate all of our cupboard dwellers and the support you offer us through listening, liking, sharing, and subscribing. But if you feel we've earned it and you're considering joining our Patreon, there are two options through which you can do so.
That's the Nature Nerds and the Animal Ambassador tiers, which you can find on the Patreon website or links through our social media as well, and each one having different benefits for you to enjoy.
And now back to Gareth and Erin in the studio.
And if you guys want to get in contact, like Dan, Spencer, Pumba, Jen, if you guys want to get in contact with us, there are a myriad of ways you can do it. You can do it through any of the normal channels. So our email address, our Instagram, our Facebook, our YouTube comment section, and also to an extent our TikTok, where people like to argue with Gareth, which I assume is not our listeners, just random people on TikTok. But I find it amusing at the very least. But with that said, it's back to normality as of next week. So we look forward to, well, I look forward to welcoming Gareth or meeting Gareth in the studio again. I look forward to recording another podcast for you guys. And yeah, in the meantime, have a great week. And thank you for your patience whilst we've been having a bit of an odd summer. We've had one host off on paternity leave, being covered by another host who then went on to move house, and then you've had me off gallivanting for weeks, and I've come back and Gareth's nowhere to be found. Well, we do know where he is, but it's all back to normal next week, guys. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for entertaining our little hiatus there, and look forward to seeing you next time in the Natural History Covered podcast. I've kind of forgotten what we do now, but take care, take it easy, and if you haven't seen it already, go out and see Superman. Really good film. Cheerio.